Location, Georgia State Capitol. Gregg versus Georgia, the background. The case of Gregg versus Georgia begins with a man named Troy Leon Gregg. This man was imprisoned within the state of Georgia after he was found guilty of murdering 2 people in 1973. Following his trial, the jury found Troy Leon Gregg guilty and originally sentenced him to death. Troy Leon Gregg was the first person in history of the United States whose death sentence was accepted by the United States Supreme Court. However, the night before he was supposed to be killed, Gregg escaped from prison and was killed in North Carolina following a fight.
Troy Gregg believed his sentence was cruel and unusual and that it broke the 8th and 14th Amendment. The punishment of death for crime of murder does not, under all circumstances, violate the 8th and 14th Amendment.
8th Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. This was dealing with the case because he thought it was cruel and unusual punishment. Questions came into factor like, was it slow and painful? They wondered if the death penalty was too extreme. 14th Amendment. Life, liberty, and property. This dealt with the case because it would be taking away the right to life. They wondered if it was too extreme for his case. These were some issues that were explored.
The court's opinion. The framers thought it was constitutional, so the court thought it was too. The court found Gregg's death sentence constitutional.
Dissenting opinion. Thurgood Marshall wrote that he would be willing to allow executions if they could show some useful purpose, such as stopping others from committing capital crimes.
William J. Brennan, in a second dissent, wrote that the death penalty treats members of the human race as non-humans, as objects to be toyed with and discarded with. Court cases dealing with Gregg versus Georgia. Furman versus Georgia. Furman was breaking into a house. The resident saw him. He ran, tripped, and the gun he was carrying went off and killed the resident. Furman was sentenced to the death penalty.
Clayton Lockett versus Oklahoma. Clayton was sentenced to death penalty by murder. The first lethal injection did not work and he died of a heart attack 43 minutes later. This brings up questions of how effective the lethal injections really are.
Impact of Gregg versus Georgia. Gregg versus Georgia made the death penalty legal again. The death penalty had been illegal for a few years but was put back into effect by Gregg. There has been a great deal of discussion over the death penalty, whether it should be illegal or not.
I,
Emma.
Tessa,